What's the worst thing a doctor has ever said to you? The cancer I had has a 90% mortality rate. I ended up not having that cancer. Wait. Your doctor told you that you have cancer with a 90% mortality rate and was wrong? Pancreatic cancer has about a 90% mortality rate. 9% of people survive 5 years, except for a very rare subtype that can be treated with surgery if caught early. Steve Jobs had the survivable type, but the dumb f-sake declined the surgery and treated himself with a fruit diet. By the time he was ready to admit he was wrong, it was too late. Goes to show you can be wildly successful, while in some ways being a complete moron. At 30, I was rushed into hospital out of the blue with a heart infection and needing a valve replacing. The professor was absolutely brilliant, but she told me off the record that you may want to get any close family to come and visit and sort out any important paperwork as it's not guaranteed that you'll wake up again. I obviously pulled through, but her honesty was reassuring, and even after 10 years we still send the odd handwritten letter to each other. We also had these stupid personal televisions at each bed which cost about £2 an hour to watch. Money would seriously rack up as I was in there for weeks, but she blagged me a pirated code so that I could watch it for free LOL. It was to my husband. I was in the room. I'm not going to figure out what it is. If it was serious, you'd be dead by now. Later, we found out that this doctor was the one that my husband's uncle was seeing before he was diagnosed with colon cancer. By the time another doctor found it, it was too late. He said there was no way it should have been missed. I'm so sorry, that's awful. Similarly, my mother had spent the autumn of 2010 getting her cough and symptoms checked out. The family doc had an x-ray of her chest done, looked at it and told her she must have pneumonia, and gave her antibiotics. A few months later, she's in the hospital, and they let her know she's got stage 4 metastatic cancer. Literally tumors everywhere from head to toe. She passed away about a month later. I was 18, 19, and my first gyno-apt. I told her how something hurt when I had sex, and I wanted to start birth control, and she told me that I was too young to have sex, so she wasn't going to help with that. Oof, same vibes as a gynecologist I went to at age 25. He asked me why I had come to see him today, and I said, I want to discuss birth control options. He picked up my left hand and replied, I don't see a wedding ring on this finger. I would constantly complain to my doctor that I couldn't breathe when I would walk, and I would get shortness of breath. I was always tired and fatigued. I would get dizzy if I walked too long. She always brushed it off and told me to get more sleep or drink more water, even though I was getting plenty of both. Finally, I made an appointment to talk to her face to face, and she flat out just told me I was lazy and needed to exercise more. I was so embarrassed because I went with my husband and she made me feel like I was just this lazy couch potato. I switched doctors and my new doc decided to do blood work, which is something that other ladies should have done in the first place, and found out I was severely anemic to the point of needing blood transfusions. I felt so much better after I got my infusions. Some people just shouldn't be practicing medicine. I had something similar, but definitely less serious. Every time I went to a DR, they'd look in my ears and complain they couldn't see anything because of the wax buildup. My mom would tell me I need to clean them more. At one point, I was cleaning them with a Q-tip almost every day. Finally saw a doctor who said she couldn't see anything, but decided to do something about it. I had said how often I cleaned them. She warned me against Q-tips. We spent almost 2 hours cleaning my ears. My ears bled. She had it looked like I had had an ear infection in one ear for quite a while, but it was hidden under the wax. I refuse to use Q-tips now and often have a doctor drain them for me. I had minor hearing loss in the ear that had the infection. It's amazing what having the right DR can do for you. When I was 19, my primary care doctor, male, told me he could do a PAP smear for me at my physical. When I told him I already had a gynecologist, he said, I can do it professionally or personally. Needless to say, I never saw him again and reported him. Welp, looks like you're probably going to go blind. While I have visions of myself walking about tapping a white cane in front of me, he blithely adds, but don't worry about it. Corneal transplants are 99% effective. You'll be fine. I did have transplants later when eyesight got bad enough to warrant it. They worked a miracle, but man, lead with the you'll be fine next time. Man, I had the same fucking thing. It was like out of a TV show. I come back for blood work, and the doctor's like, you ever heard of leukemia? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, this probably isn't that, but we want to do some tests just to be sure. Like, bro, have mercy. That I have genital warts, proceeded to freeze them off, and sent me on my way. I went to my family doctor and she told me I did not have genital warts, and was very confused by the other doctor's diagnosis and treatment. Found out later on that the original doctor who gave me TX and diagnosed me with GW had come to Canada because he lost his license while practicing in the USA. Then shortly after, his clinic was no longer open in my area. This was overheard by a friend of mine when a neurosurgeon looked at the CT of her son's brain. There's no point in doing this one. This kid is done. I'm out of here. The good news is another neurosurgeon did the surgery, And the kid, now about 40, is perfectly fine today. Another story I heard while working in a hospital, but cannot verify. A guy was gravely injured due to being shot in the face. There was no chance of recovery, and he was expected to die within a very short period of time. An intern walks in the room and says, "Is this the guy we are going to harvest the kidneys from?" The doomed patient was reported to have reacted by briefly bolting up into a sitting position. I hope it is not true, but they did get the kidneys. My job involves being in the background of phone calls between various kinds of doctors, and can 100% confirm that neurosurgeons are the absolute most heartless. We had one ER doc talking to a neurosurgeon about a guy having a stroke, and all the surgeon wanted to know was if he was an organ donor. ED doc said he wasn't comfortable asking the family that yet when they were still hoping for intervention, but the surgeon wouldn't back down. It was brutal. Edit to add, I might also be biased, as neurosurgeons are the ones who I get the most mistreatment from. Professionally, they are hard to work with for me.